Hello friends, welcome back to Digitalk. In this session, I am going to cover multiple things specifically related with the SSL, like what exactly is SSL, what we have a different kind of a certificates, and then we have a different kind of a stores, and then we create a different kind of a certificates. We send the certificate request to the C authority, and then we receive the multiple kind of a certificates that we need to import in our certificate key stores, right? And there is particular sequence of the importing the certificates, and there are multiple things that is related with the SSL that I'm going to cover in this session in a very basic way so that everyone can understand by going through this session. So this is one of the most confusing type topic I have ever seen, specifically in the security or in the WebLogic. Okay, where even with the engineers of more than 20 years of experience, we're not able to explain few simple things that is specifically related with the SSL configurations. Okay, and the basic concepts of the SSL in terms of the identity, trust, and different kind of certificates, the importing order of the certificates. So I have posted many videos earlier as well. Okay, I have given all the sessions link in this video description. Okay, you can take it from there where I have explained completely the all the things from basics to advanced. Okay, till the theory to implementation. Okay, and now in this session, I am interactively going to explain all these concepts again. Okay, in a very basic or simple way, so that everyone can understand that one. Right. So let us start with the SSL. What exactly is a SSL? Okay, so secure socket layer. We use it for the encryption of a data. Okay, so now what is mean of encryption? So I know this is a very basic, you may aware about that one. So I'm just quickly covering it. Okay, assuming that maybe some starting guys or very beginners are going to watch this session. So just I will take 1 or 2 minutes and then I will go jump into the some other advanced options as well. Okay, so now what SSL, as I said, it is used for the encryption of the data. And now what exactly mean of encryption? For example, we have this is our server, okay, where we have our applications are running, okay, and this is your client, okay. So you can consider it as a browser, okay. Maybe you can consider that you are accessing your applications with the help of this browser in your system. Now, when you connect to a server with the help of your browser, for example, maybe you are accessing the website of a banking institute, okay, and when you access the this website, okay, from your browser, okay, then connection that get created or established in the server of that organization where the application is running. Okay, for example, if you are trying to access the application of HDFC bank, okay, when you hit the HDFC URL in your browser, it is going to connect to the server of the HDFC bank, right, and specifically over the internet, which is the public network, right. So whenever we interact with the website, we enter multiple details, multiple personal details as well, right. We enter our username and we enter our password. Maybe during the transaction we enter our credit card details, pin, and multiple details we do enter from the browser when we access the website. And all this information is going to be transferred from public internet to the server of HDFC, right. So that means if some hacker is sitting in between, okay, then your data can be compromised in between, if some hacker is sitting in between. So if that hacker able to compromise the data which you are sending from your browser to the server, then he or she can able to get all of your personal information, right. So for that, to avoid these kind of things, we use the HTTPS, or you can say the SSL configuration. So what happens with the help of SSL configurations? Whenever your data is transferring from your browser to server and from server to browser, right, because you enter multiple details and then you get the response from the server as well. So that means you have to encrypt the data in both direction, when it is reaching to the server from your browser and when it is reaching to your browser from the server. So all the data, when it is over the public internet, right, it has to be encrypted, right, so that if your data, someone is trying to compromise the data in between, that person will get the garbage data, right. He will or she will not get the plain text data from your system. So this is a simple explanation of SSL. So when we access any of the website, okay, if you notice that we access it with the help of HTTPS now, because HTTPS is the secure protocol, like this one. Okay, and if any of the website you are accessing without HTTPS, that means it is non-secure. It is not configured with the SSL certificate, and whatever the communication that you are going to do without S website on the plain HTTP, your content will not encrypted on the internet. Okay, so this is not advisable to do any kind of a transaction or any kind of a share. Do not share any kind of a personal data specifically on the website which you are accessing with the help of HTTP only. Okay, we always have to access with the help of HTTPS for the secure applications. So this is a simple use of the SSL. We use it for encryption of the data which is transferring between your public on over your public network between your browser and the server. So you can use it for intranet as well. Okay, that is specifically required when we have a certain kind of applications that specifically need the encryption, end-to-end encryption for the complete flow of the data. Then we configure the SSL in the internal intranet as well. Okay, so but basically the importance of this SSL is on the internet. Right. So this is all about the internet and how we access this one. Right. So now when we talk about the configurations of the SSL, specifically in WebLogic or maybe for any of the other products. Okay. So we have a two kind of a certificates. Now what are the two kind of a certificates? We have a self-sign certificates. Okay. And we have a CA signed certificates. Now, what exactly is self-signed certificate? It is very clear from the name as well. Self-signed. That means we are signing your own certificates. And when we talk about the CA sign, that means the certificates are getting to be signed by some third-party authority. Okay, certificate authority. Right. So now, when you are self-signing the certificate, okay, that means you are identifying or you are certifying your own business or you are certifying your own organization. Okay, I belong to this particular organization, but it is not certified by the any other third party service providers. Okay, you are the person who is certifying that okay, this is my business and I am the person who is talking about my business. Right. So what will happen in that case? It is not considered as secure. It's not secure. Okay, so self-signed certificate basically we mostly use for the non-prod environments. That is non-production environments. Like if you are doing the configurations of the in your development, in your testing, okay, in the quality or any of the non-production environment. Okay, there we can use a self-signed certificate. So whenever you access any of the website using which is configured using the self-signed certificate. So because it is configured with a self-signed certificate, you can still access the website as HTTPS with the help of HTTPS. Okay, with the help of S because you have configured with the self-signed certificate. But what will happen when you will access this website with the self-signed certificate configured with the self-signed certificate, you will still get a warning that you are not accessing a secure website. It is not secure. You will get a warning prompt. So even though it is secured, configured with the S, but because it is configured with the self-signed certificate, so you will still get a security prompt. Okay, so that you can't configure in the production because no one is going to make a trust. If someone is trying to access your website in the production live environment, and that person is getting the security warning that this website is not secure, then nobody is going to be go in your business. Okay, right? So this specifically use when we do the configurations in the non-production environment. This is specifically read for testing purpose, where you need to test the end-to-end SSL flow of your data. Now, when we talk about the CA certificates, okay, so these are the certified certificate authorities. Okay, those give you the certificate. Now, how they give us to certificate and what exactly we need to share with them, let me explain you. Now, before that, let me tell you a few of the names, okay, so that you can understand what are the different kind of certificate authorities, and I'm sure you are aware about some of the names, okay. So, for example, we have a DigiCert, and we have Global Sign, we have VeriSign, then we have Rapid SSL, we have Komodo. Okay, there are n number of certified C authorities. Okay, from where you can get the secure certificate for your website. Right. So now these are the some about authorities, C authorities. Now let us talk about the CA certificate. What exactly is CA certificate, and how we are saying that when we get the certificate from the CA. Okay, so these are the trusted certificates. Right. So let me explain you. But before that, let me explain you one important concept. So when we do the configuration of the SSL, The two main important things you need for the configurations, the keys to your stores, different kind of a stores. Okay, because when we get the certificate, we import in some key stores, right? So we have a two different kind of a stores. One is called the identity, and second is called the trust. Okay, so let me write it completely: identity store and trust store. So these are the two critical stores, okay, which we use for the configurations of the SSL, specifically the third party certificate for the configurations. Now, what exactly is identity and what exactly is trust store? So let me give you the clarity on that as well. Now, identity store, the name is very clear from the store name is identity. That means it contain your identity. Okay, for example, if you are running the XYZ business and you have a website, you are going to have a certificate for xyz.com, and your organization name is XYZ. This is your organization. Now you are going to configure the certificate for your website, which is xyz.com. You need a certificate for this one. Okay, from where you need it? From the certificate authority, right? So that means you have to reach to the certificate authority to get the certificate. But when you reach to a certificate authority to get the certificate, you have to share some details because they are going to certify your website along with your organization, right? Because this is a trusted business. Okay, so for that, what you need to do, you have to provide certain details to the certificate authority, right? And that detail we provide in the form of CSR, which is called a certificate signing request. Okay, so in certificate signing request, you have your personal details, like it contain your organization details, plus along with that it contain your website domain name. So here we are going to take it for the xyz.com. So you have to share your xyz.com website DN here along with your organization details. Okay, what is your business, where exactly is running, in which state, in which city, in which country. So all the details you have to provide the CSR. Okay, so this CSR you have to send to the certificate authority. So once the certificate has been sent, okay, we get a different kind of a certificates, and one of the certificate contain your identity. Okay, so once you have the identity certificate, identity certificate, I will explain you in bit detail as well. Okay, identity certificate. This certificate you have to import in your identity store, and why? Because this contain your identity, right? And this identity has been digitally signed by the certificate authority, right? Now, along with that, you have a trust store as well. Now, what exactly is trust store? So let me first explain you, and then I will come back to what is trust store. Okay, so what are the certificate that we receive? The first we get the identity certificate, which also refer as SSL certificate or server certificate. Sometime you will see that someone referring as a public certificate as well. Okay, so that means the first certificate is your SSL server or public certificate. Now, apart from that, we get two more certificate, which is the intermediate, and second is the root certificate. Okay, so that means whenever we send the request to the certificate authority, we get three kind of certificate. The first certificate, which is called the SSL certificate or server certificate, or you can also refer as sometime public certificate as well. And apart from that, we will get two more certificate, which is the intermediate and root certificate. So all total, we are getting a three certificate from the certificate authority. And now, as I said, this server certificate contain your identity, so we import that in the identity store. And intermediate and root certificate specifically are related with the trust, so we import intermediate and root certificate in the trust store. Right. Now, what exactly is this trust store? What is the meaning of that one? Okay, so let me explain you that as well. Let us take it with our own basic example. If I talk about a person, okay, what are the different ways to identify a person? Very first thing, identity certificate, right? So this I'm talking about in terms of the real life. Okay, so specifically when I talk about the India, in India you have multiple government certificates that you can show to your identity. You can show your PAN card, you can show your Aadhaar card, you can show your voter card, right? Similarly, if you go in the USA or in some other country, we have a different other kind of identity certificate, like somewhere we have SSL. Okay, that is called your social security administration or social security number. Okay, so similarly, we have a different kind of a certificate in the different countries. So that is specifically used to identify the a particular person. So now what it is giving to me for some, for example, a person came to me for some purpose, for okay, for some work, and I don't know that person. I never met him before, and I don't know about this that person. So what I can do, I can first take his identity certificate to make sure that okay, this is the right person. What he is talking about. This is just to take the identity of that person, right? So now suppose I have taken the identity of the certificate, or I know from the certificate. Okay, now this is the name of the person, and he is from this particular country and maybe particular city town. Okay, now I never met that person. Okay, so how can I can create a trust? I know about the identity of a person, but how can I create a trust if I am going to do give him some help, or I am going to hire him for some my job or for some my work for my shop? Okay, how do I am going to create the trust? Even though I have the identity certificate from the person, but how do I trust that person? Right. So now what will happen in that case? That person can refer the name of a person to whom I know. Okay. For example, he referred me John. Okay, he know the John. Okay, who sent or who has given my reference. So that means that person came to me with the reference of John, and I know the John very well, right? So what will happen in that case? Even I don't know this person, I know the John, but I can trust this guy as well now because I have the reference of John, to whom I know very well. So indirectly, I don't know this person, but I can trust now this guy with the reference of a John, right? Similarly, in the SSL, you have a identity and you have a trust. So this identity give you the information about a particular organization. But to create the trust of that organization, we have the intermediate and root certificate, which we import in the trust store, right? So that means first is identity and second is your trust. So this similar to the personal life example, okay, you can relate here as well. We get the identity certificate, which is digitally signed by the C authority, which we call the server or SSL certificate, and we have the trust store, which will contain our intermediate and root certificate. So this intermediate you can consider as a John, and this root you can consider as yourself here. Okay, so this is the intermediate certificate. Okay, so that means we have some intermediate certificate authorities as well. Okay, to increase or to enhance the security of the certificate of your business. Okay, or for the certificates, we have a intermediate certificate authorities as well. So it could be possible that some your identity certificate and root certificate has been given assigned by released by a different organization, and intermediate certificate is released by some different organization, right? So this is all about identity and trust. Okay, so let us move forward. Now what we have learned initially, there is an encryption of the data when we use the HTTPS, right? So now how this encryption is happening between your browser and the server? There has to be certain kind of algorithm or certain mechanism in place which is doing the encryption for you at the browser and at the server as well, right? Because when the browser is sending the data to a server, the data is getting encrypted at browser. That encrypted data is moving to a server, okay, and when the data is going back from server to browser, it is again getting encrypted at your server level, and from server level it is reaching to browser. And what will happen after that? It is again going to be decrypted. When your browser send the data to the server, during the travel the data will be in the encrypted form, and when it reaches to the server, it is again decrypted by your server. and then it will process the request, and when it is going to send the response, again it is going to encrypt the data. It will send over the network, and once it will reach to your browser, the data which is sent by the server again going to be encrypted here. So that means there are a lot of encryption and decryption going to be happen in each and every communication between browser and server. So how this is happening? It is happening with the help of certain algorithms, and how that algorithms work, let me explain you. For that we have a key pair. Okay, key pairs. For that we have a public key and private key. Okay, so this concept, let me explain you, but in detail I am going to explain in the second session, because you need few more things to understand for that. That is called symmetric key, symmetric and a symmetric key. Okay, because this complete flow of the encryption and decryption between browser and the server, it is happen with the help of both. It is happen with the help of your public and private keys, and then it is happen with the help of symmetric and asymmetric keys in the different phases of the communication. Okay, so now let me explain you what exactly public and private key. So whenever I said the data is getting encrypted at your browser end, okay, then is this data at the browser end is encrypted with the help of your public keys, and when this data reach to a server, it is decrypted with the help of private keys. Okay, you have a two kind of a keys. So these public and private keys are created when you create your store, identity store initially. Okay, so now how to create the stores? We have a different kind of a utilities. I'm sure you're aware about that one. We have a key tool, we have a open SSL. Okay, these are the tech tools we used to create our different kind of a stores. Okay, whether it is an identity store or a trust store. Okay, you can use all these tools. So when we let me go back to initially when we send the request to the CA. Okay, when we send the request to CA, that means when we send the CSR to the CA to receive our certificate, then the first certificate, what I said, it is we received SSL and server certificate, right? So this SSL, so let me copy it from here. So this SSL server, which is also called the public certificate, it contain your public key as well. Okay, which is digitally signed by the certificate authority. So this contain your public key, this server certificate. Okay, and where exactly you have a private key, the corresponding private key you have in your server identity store, which we create with the help of key tool, right? So that means at the server side we have the server key. Now this public key is again we received in the server or SSL certificate, which we again import in our key store. Now how this key is reaching to your browser? Because I said this public key is used to encrypt the data at browser end, and when it reaches to a server, your server decrypt the message with the help of private key, right? So now what happens is that whenever a browser connect to a server, okay, after the connection your server will send this public certificate or this particular certificate, or you can say your public key, to the browser first. So that means during the first communication, when the connection is established, when the SSL handshake is completed from browser to server, your public key is sent by your server to the browser, right? So when this public key reaches your browser, after that your browser can encrypt the data with the help of this public key, and the data which is encrypted at the browser end with the help of this particular public key, it can be decrypted only with the corresponding private key which we have in your server. Okay, you can't decrypt the data which is encrypted with this public key with some different private keys. That means it is more secure, because the data which has been encrypted with the public key, if it is data is going to be compromised in between, you can't utilize any of the other private key for the decryption. It can be only decrypted with the help of private key which is there in your server only. Now apart from that, you have a role of symmetric and asymmetric key as well. Once the session has been established, and then the communication started between your browser and server for the data communication, data exchange, there you involve the symmetric and asymmetric key as well. Okay, so if you wanted to learn all these concepts in detail with the examples, with the help of commands, one by step, then I have we have a course on the Udemy, okay, which you can uh, search in the Udemy, or you can go through the link that I have given initially in this session. Okay, or you can go to digitalk.fmw, and there you will get the complete course link along with the coupon codes. Okay, you can join that course as well. if you wanted to have a complete in-depth knowledge along with the complete end-to-end commands and then the purpose of each and every commands and options. Okay, so now we have now clear on the different kind of certificates, then the SSL, and then the different CA certificate authorities, how we get the CA certificate authority certificates. And now when we talk about the importing of the certificate, so what kind of certificates we have? We have a server SSL certificate. Along with that, we have a two more certificate, which is the intermediate and root certificate, right? So that means all total we have three certificates. So when we go to import the certificates, okay, so this server certificate, which as I said contain your public key and your organization information as well. Okay, so this we import in our identity store. Identity store. Okay, most probably you will see it with the name of identity.jks if you are using the JKS format. Okay, it could be maybe with some different name. Okay, but sometimes mostly time you will see the identity. Okay, and then the intermediate certificate and root certificate, both certificate you have to import in your trust store, and most of the time you will see with the name of trust.jks. Okay, this is a generic name that mostly we use. So we have two kind of stores: identity, where we import the SSL server or public certificate, and intermediate and root certificate we import in the trust.jks. But generally in the regular habit, what you will see that during the configuration, most of the time you will see that this along with the SSL server and public certificate, you will see the engineers are importing this intermediate and root certificate in your identity store as well. Okay, that is also fine. There is no issue in that as well. Okay, so now if you are importing all three certificates in your identity store, or when you are importing these two certificates in the trust store, you have to make sure that the order should be same. Okay, that means your SSL or server certificate should be at top. Your SSL server, or we also call it a public certificate, this should be at the top, and then intermediate certificate, which is clear from the name as well, it is the intermediate certificate. That means it has to be in the in the middle. Okay, then in the middle you have the intermediate certificate and root. It is also clear from the root as well, it has to be at the root level. Okay, so this is the order that you have to follow. Your SSL certificate should be at the top, your intermediate certificate should be in the middle, and your root certificate should be in the last. So if you are importing all these three certificates in your identity store, make sure to follow this particular sequence. So that means root need to be at last. So first import the root certificate, so it will be at the root level. Second, import the intermediate certificate, and third at last import the server certificate so that it will come at the top. Right? So this is the order that you have to follow when you are going to import in your identity store. And when you are going to import in trust store, then you can store root at the bottom. After that, you import the intermediate certificate. However, it's not really necessary. That means if you are going to import in the trust store, that order may not really matter. Okay, but as a standard practice, you always import the root certificate at the bottom, and once it is imported, then you can import the intermediate certificate. Right? So these are the orders you have to follow when you are going to import the certificate. Right? So this is a high level discussion, or you can say the concepts of your SSL, and hope I'm able to clear you, or I'm able to clear some your doubts on the SSLs. Okay, so let me give a quick recap what we have learned. We have learned about the SSL, what exactly is the SSL, what is the purpose of SSL, okay, and how we access the browser website with the help of this SSL certificate. We have two different kind of a certificate, SSL and self-sign and the CA certificate. What is the difference between them? Then end-to-end flow and the definition and the explanation of the identity and the trust store relating with the real life example. What exactly is the key pairs? What are the different kind of keys? What are the different tools we use for the configurations? Your different kind of a certificate. What is the importing sequence of the certificate in the key store? Okay, and next session I will going to explain a bit more about this complete end-to-end journey and the encryption in the SSL. Thank you.